Hi, this is Rex from California, and I thought I would share a little bit of the steps of my Moebius Seaview build. First model I've built in 30 years. Quite an undertaking, and I'd like to thank Frank at Galactic Modeler for his advice. I did a decal kit on the interior, and some of the tips I'd advise is you got to paint a lot of stuff white before you use the decals to get them to show. I used some gem work for the screen because I didn't have any lighting for it, and I used a lot of screenshots from the TV show as reference for color and so forth. I didn't care for the front bulkhead that came with the model kit that goes across the truss work of the front of the thing. The walls stuck out too far behind their little pillars that they made, so I made my own pillars out of straws, and I chopped down the bulkhead and only used the top T-bar to cross. It's not shown in the picture, but here I'm installing the straws, and then I installed the top brace across, and then here's the pillars completed with the decal applied over the top of them. The visibility of the model is very limited, and so I didn't like how the bulkhead walls had stuck out originally and blocked some of the view, because you can't see very much anyway, especially if you use the model windows that come with it. A lot of guys use customized glass so they can see a little better. Here's a LED I installed in the Radio Shack at the back of the control room. And I also installed one under the glass map. And I also had a corresponding hole that was down into the Seaview flying sub bay, so the light lit up both the bay and the map. And then here's all the fiber optics that I was beginning to employ throughout the control room before they're all installed in place. And then here is the battery pack mounted inside the rear tail of the hull before completion. I again used a lot of the TV pictures for references of things. I found that a Nassau blue, which is on the right of the tail there, I coated first. It was a little too blue for me, so then I overcoated it with Tester's graphite dust color, and it turned out really good. I left the tail fins unglued as recommended by Frank at Galactic Modelers, because you can access your battery pack, and it does fit so tight that you don't really need to glue it, so it made it very handy for that. And then once it was done, it was pretty nice looking. On the flying sub, I installed a little round magnet you can see at the top of the hatch right there, and I installed one on the lanyard that the sub mounts to up in the bay. And the magnet worked really well. That way I could take the sub out whenever I wanted to. It wasn't attached wire-wise to the Seaview. Here's the micro switch I incorporated in the tail of the little flying sub, and I made the back hatch round instead of oval, and the switch is the actual handle for the hatch, the switch button. And there's a shot of the magnet that I used on the top of the Seaview to connect it, the flying sub. There's a shot with the fiber optics starting to get installed on the tail of the flying sub. And then here's a little front shot. I originally painted it a gloss color, and I know a lot of guys do that. My plan was to end it with a flat, because really it's more of a flat color in the TV show. And here is the inner wiring. It's a watch type battery system. You can see it running the lights, and then the fiber optics from the back as well on this shot. I actually installed some little screws in the hulls so that I could take the hull open and close to replace the battery when needed. Here's a shot from the finished front of it with the little guys in there. You can see them. I used a lighter blue than a lot of guys use, because I used again the references off the TV show, and I know things got lighter underwater with the lighting, but I like the lighter blue as opposed to the darker blue. And then when the missile kit comes with this really weird looking missile that I've never seen on any of the TV episodes, so I took some screenshots of them launching the Polaris, and I copied that. And I didn't like how the plume was that comes with the model kit either, so I inverted it and put it upside down and mounted the Polaris missile on that. I think it's probably the better looking missile. It's definitely more accurate to the TV show.